Introductions of the dais. If we please introduce ourselves, the Executive Committee.
Francisca Leopold, Second Vice Chair and Chair for Health and Social Services.
Primo Lozana, First Vice Chair.
Dante Arnwan, District Manager.
Linda Watson-Lord, Executive Secretary.
Mina Lagute, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, please note for the record, we are called into order at 7:09 p.m. Okay. All right. So we are going to waive the reading of the rules of order for this evening, but I do want to remind everyone that they are posted on the Community Board 9 website, and they are operative for all Community Board meetings. Succinctly, all we say is that we want to make sure that everyone comes in the spirit of respect. We know that sometimes we won't have agreement on all conversations, but we do want everyone to respect at least the personhood of everyone who's giving their opinions. And we hope that sometimes, even in that disagreement, we can find our way to solutions. So all we ask is that everyone do that. As chair of the meeting, it is my job to maintain order, to make sure that we are calling people at the appropriate times. For the members of the public, there is a public commentary meeting where we'll have opportunities for the public to speak to the board as well. And then after that, we enter into the business session where we'll cover the agenda items that we have for this evening. Okay, so we are going to now go into item 2. We have presentations. First item we have is Landmarks Preservation Commission application for 168 Midwood Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11225. Is the housing chair here? All right, I do not see the housing chair. Well, is the applicant here? Come, sir. All right, if you would just please rise and just give us a little bit of a flavor of what the application is and what work you're trying to do. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here on behalf of the owners of 168 Midwood. That would be Marie Hoge and Kyle Sundin. They're planning a relatively modest renovation to their single-family home. It's in the Prospect Lefferts Garden neighborhood, which is in the historic district. Among the things that they're doing is they're trying to create 2 equally sized bedrooms in the back of their brownstone on the top floor for their 2 children. What that involves in the plan here, I think if you have the materials there, is we're hoping to remove the middle window on the back of their home and then put 2 windows in each bedroom back there. Landmarks request that be in front of the Landmark Commission for that because it's a top floor change to the rear windows. If these were on a lower level, it would be a different story there. We've tried our best to maintain the historic fabric, which is already in variation in the neighborhood to small degrees, and to respect the nature of the landmark transition of that house there. We're at this point just asking for the community board to weigh in on the appropriateness of this intervention, which is just, again, the changing of 1 window to 2 in the back of their home.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I'm sorry, just for the secretary, could you just repeat your name for the record?
My name is Michael Hansen. I'm the architect of the project.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hansen. If you could hold on one second, actually, because usually we'll take maybe a couple of questions if there's any questions from the public or from the board. Is there anyone at this time we can take a couple of questions for the applicant? Does anyone have any questions for the applicant regarding the application?
Excuse me, sir. Landmark, did they approve it or just waiting for us to, what was
The way Landmarks
comment
works
from them?
with the commission is they won't put us on the calendar until we've been heard by the community board. So after this meeting, then whatever is given will be given to Landmarks, and then they'll put us on their calendar for hopefully their December meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, we have to. Okay, so we'll see Ms. Moses, and then we'll see the first vice chair.
I was just looking at the picture. Are you changing the structure? It looks like something is coming out.
No, we're not actually changing the structure of it. We're removing 1 middle window, right? So there's a middle window in the rear there. That's being removed, and then we're putting 2 windows, 1 window on either side of what will be a middle wall there.
Okay, so it automatically sticks out like this?
That bay window remains. That's a historic feature that we're leaving there.
Thanks. You know, in my own building, there's oftentimes a process for kind of observing a renovation as it goes on, as if it's a change, usually by an engineer who's a third party, just to make sure that like the plan that's being submitted is the plan that's actually followed, because if the plan isn't followed, undoing the work is not often something that happens. So is there any contingency plan in place for a third-party observer to report out on the work as it goes forward, or to report on the work once it's done?
No, this is permitted by the Department of Buildings. So there's no, I'm the only architect involved in the design and the process of that, but the city places its approvals on it, so.
Right. And then the city has to come, the Department of Buildings is supposed to come after the renovation is done to basically say this was done the way that we intended it
Correct,
to be
they
done.
come and they do a final inspection.
Okay, so that's helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll be considering the application when we get to the business portion. You are more than welcome to stay, but otherwise the board will let you know after what determination we've come up with.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, we are going to go on to item B, which is regarding a street co-naming application of Empire Boulevard and Washington Avenue to Tiara Poyo Way. This was heard in the Transportation Committee. The Transportation Committee Chair is not here this evening. Is the applicant here? Please come forward. Welcome to CB9. So if you could
you.
just tell us a little bit about the application that you're proposing this evening.
Okay, hi, my name is Vertina Brown. I am with Tiara's Way. I want to talk to you about my daughter, Tiara Shanice Poyo. She was a victim of gun violence at the Juve Festival 2016. Tiara was a St. John University graduate in accounting. Tiara was only 22 years old. She did a lot with her life. She traveled all over the world. She did a lot of stuff. Because this happened at Juve, I, along with multiple government officials, have had several meetings to change Juve, in which we did. We made it now in the daylight so that it's safer to help in gun violence. I've also done gun violence walks. I've also done a PSA with the mayor's office. I've done a number of things. I've also did a Senate bill. I've also do an event every year. It's a back to school / gun violence prevention with Woodhull Hospital in Brooklyn. I don't know if you guys have heard of Woodhull Hospital. And it's very successful. I give away backpacks full of supplies for the children and the communities. Like I said, my daughter deserves this street co-renaming. She deserves a lot more. I'm here to take any questions, and I hope that you guys see it my way to pass this.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And I know that's a pain that never goes away. And we thank you for all the work you continue to do in your daughter's memory. All right. Are there any questions for the applicant this time? Go home.
I'm sorry.
Actually, we need to get to the mic. Dante, would you?
Okay.
Hi, Ms. Poyo. I've heard you speak a couple of times about your daughter, and I just want to know if, I know you wanted to do the triangle there as well. You wanted to have some kind of memorial there
Right.
for you. Is anybody helping you with that? Have you heard any more?
The board
from
has
anyone?
been trying to talk with the DOT about how to go about doing this. So that's like something second that we're also considering. So hopefully that as well will get passed today.
All right, I support you, and I'll support you in that as well.
Thank
So,
you. I
I've read a lot
appreciate it.
about you and your daughter, so
Thank you.
I'm happy to support you.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, I'm very sorry for your loss. I had suggested to you, and speaking to you on the side,
Yes.
that a cherry blossom tree with a bench to honor your daughter, I think would be very beautiful, because no one has that.
That would
Okay,
be.
so we're in support.
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate that.
Could you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you, honey, and I agree. That would be beautiful. That's another idea that you guys can help me with. Whatever works, the cherry blossom tree with the bench and the plaque, or the park that we discussed in meetings. Either or would do great, but my main goal is the street renaming. So the other things will be second to that. Any other questions?
I do have one last question as
Sure.
well. Usually, I know the co-namings usually are probably in the person's place where they lived and where, everybody knew them as well. Have you had a conversation, was there any conversation about doing it in your district, or have you spoken to
I
all
did.
local elected officials?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I did. I did speak to my senator who helped me with the Senate bill. She did tell me that because it happened at the Western Beef, Empire Boulevard, that it has to go through that community. Just community leaders and Senate office over here, I don't have to do it over there. I would rather it be done here where it happened, so that everybody will remember her. She was my only child, and she didn't have any children, so her legacy is mine.
All right. No, thank you very much again. So we'll be discussing this when we get into our business session. If you would like to stay, absolutely more than welcome to stay, but otherwise we'll, be in touch and we can let you know what the decision of the board is.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? No?
Okay, we are moving on to the agenda. We are now going to item C on the agenda. The New York City Retiree Medicare Resolution is there a representative for that resolution? Pardon me. Just a moment. So this resolution came through our Health and Social Services Committee. So the chair will give a brief synopsis of the conversation that happened. Okay, so for this evening, again, this went through our Health and Social Services Committee, and it passed there, and it was approved by the Executive Committee as well. And the resolution very briefly reads, whereas the matter of healthcare is extremely important and must be protected for the 250,000 New York City retirees who work for their healthcare rights. Whereas Intro Bill 1099-23 legislation is currently awaiting in the City Council for a hearing to be scheduled by Speaker Adams so we can move forward. Whereas the New York City retirees are being forced into a medical advantage plan, MAP, with no alternative options provided. Whereas this plan threatens access to the same level of health care in that the retirees will be forced into a plan from the medical providers in the MAP and would be at MAP's whim for pre-authorization decisions that may be based, or at least in part, on artificial intelligence instead of the medical decisions from their current regular medical providers. Whereas the proposed plan would draw millions of dollars away from traditional Medicare into privatized MAP. Whereas the proposed plan sets a harmful precedent for the rest of the nation. Whereas the New York City retirees have denounced this proposed change in different platforms and forums, as well as in the January 11th, 2023 New York City Council Marathon public hearing, that they have been subjected to unconscionable stress during this violation of their earned health care benefits. And therefore, be it resolved that Brooklyn Community Board 9 urges all of its elected officials to publicly support the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees' efforts in supporting Intro 1099-23. We are hereby requesting the city maintain the original Medicare plan provided at the time of hiring and not force retirees into a private, profit-driven healthcare plan. Also resolved, we urge our elected officials to uphold the statute in the New York Administrative Code, Section 12-126, consistent with these contractual and statutory obligations. The city has for several decades, since 1957, covered the out-of-pocket costs of the GHI Senior Care Plan. which the majority of New York City retirees have chosen, as well as other Medigap plans, and urges the New York City Council to exercise leadership by voting to pass Intro 1099-23. So this is the resolution that we'll be considering this evening. Again, procedurally, this was passed. It was brought to us by a concerned resident. It was brought to our Housing, Health and Social Services Committee, who considered the matter and approved it. It is being considered by the board this evening. At this time, are there any questions that we can answer with regards to the resolution? I see Ms. Moses.
I just wanted to know, who is it being sent to? You say the elected officials, who are they?
This is being sent to the city council. It's going to city council, but it's also for us to urge all of the elected officials to encourage the passage of this.
Oh, okay, thank you. Oh,
Okay.
Second things, I thought they had already resolved this, that they weren't going to change over according to the unions? No?
Still back and
Okay,
forth.
thanks.
It's still back and forth. It's still being considered.
What did you say back there? I didn't hear you.
So it's still in the court, so I guess what we're looking for is the city council to say, no, no, just stop it already. Okay? All right. Are there any other questions? Okay, hearing none. So we will vote on this during the voting session. Okay, so we are now going to move on in the agenda to public comment period. The public comment period is for a duration of 30 minutes. Speakers are allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board. Please, when you do come, make sure you give us your name and state what organization and speak to, you can address the board and the residents at this time. I would also ask, please make sure we're respectful. 3 minutes. We will have our staff. Khaled, you'll be keeping time or you'll be waving? Our staff member will let you know when you have 30 seconds left. Please make sure at that point begin to wrap up so that we finish on time. All right, at this time, we have, is it Shane? And I apologize for all pronunciations right up front. Shane Solger?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, please come forward.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Dr. Shane Solger, and I'm a resident physician at Kings County Hospital. And I'm speaking as the regional vice president for my union, the Committee of Interns and Residents, or CIR. I'm one of roughly 3,000 resident physicians and fellows across New York City health and hospitals who are bargaining for a contract with the city. We're asking for fair pay that will allow us to continue to uphold the mission of New York City health and hospitals, which is provide high quality care to all New Yorkers, regardless of their ability to pay. Residents are junior physicians who perform the bulk of the work required for patient care, and we're usually the first and sometimes the only physician that you encounter when you come into a hospital. But many of us struggle to stay afloat, with rent eating up more than half our paychecks while we're also saddled with $200,000 to $300,000 in student loan debt. We don't have the ability to pick up a second job to make more money because we spend 60 to 80 hours a week in the hospital. Apartments farther from the hospital can be cheaper, but when you're working a 26-hour shift, this becomes a real problem because each of those hours commuting is an hour further away from our families and our homes. We're not asking to be the highest paid residents in the city. We're simply asking to not be the lowest among all of the city's safety net hospitals, which is the city's current offer. We want to reduce residents' financial stress to help us be more present with our patients. And if our pay keeps falling behind as our rent goes up, passionate doctors will choose to go somewhere else because they just can't afford to work at the public city hospitals. At Kings County, we treat predominantly Black, immigrant, and working class patients. And investing in the healthcare workers who keep our hospital running is investing in the health of our community, especially as it faces continued disinvestment from the city. Through our resident union, we're able to advocate for the specific needs of Kings County. For years, we were frustrated with the interpretation services available at the hospital, where it is critically important that we can have a dialogue with our patients. It was not uncommon to communicate with Haitian Creole speakers in French or English in the middle of a medical or a surgical emergency because the hospital hadn't invested in those services overnight. But recently, through CIR, residents secured 24/7 Haitian Creole video interpretation services, the first ever 3 lines allocated for in-person interpreters in Haitian Creole, and the purchase of 60 new video interpretation devices. When we advocate for Kings County like this is in our free time, wedged into the 1 day off we're usually allotted per week, And yet, despite this commitment, when my co-residents and I tried to deliver a petition to our hospital CEO with more than 400 signatures on it asking for his support, his office called for the hospital police to remove us. This contract fight is about investing in the future staff that will do what's best for our community and continue to spend that extra time outside of work to improve patient care, in spite of a work climate that is at times hostile and unsupportive of us. What I love about this hospital is that I know that I can coordinate care for anyone who walks through our doors, and the residents who choose to work here right now would bend over backwards to do the same. I'm grateful for everyone's time, and I hope we can count on the board's support as CIR physicians demand a fair contract with New York City Health and Hospitals.
Thank you very much.
CIR? Yeah, which is the Committee of Interns and Residents. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have signed up Leona Hartley. Okay, thank you. Ms. Hartley, Leona Hartley?
Hello, my name is Leona Hartley, and again, I'm here about the rat infestation of the 500 block on Empire Boulevard. An uptick of rats, poor garbage maintenance from the supermarket, the smell of blood in the sewer system, rats runs abundance at the dust across the entire block. Rat burrows and dead rats still be seen. There are elderly, children on the block, and there is disease from the urine and rat dropping. The block is a slum with garbage sweeping down. This is a form of environmental terrorism. We need all city agencies on hand, for this is an epidemic that's making our homes inhabitable. This is my second time coming here, and I'm tired of complaining. I'm getting all my city officials involved because they have now made the barrels in my front yard, which occurred a cost for me to have an exterminator come and to fix it. Not because I've done it, it's because how the garbage is put out. From my neighbors, the whole block is ridiculous, and I'm tired of complaining. What is the location? You know where the kosher supermarket is? Yeah. Right, that whole block is an infestation of rats. Because it's between Kingston and Brooklyn Avenue. Okay, between Kingston and Brooklyn. Empire between Kingston and Brooklyn Avenue. It is ridiculous to come outside of your building in the morning time, no matter what time you leave out to go to work, if it's 6:30, to see a dead rat or see them scurrying around. I don't live like that, and I don't expect anybody else to live like that. I spoke to the supermarket myself and went down there and told them, can you please not do this because I live here, you don't live here. It continued. I made a call last week, I sent pictures they grew from one container, that they had one container the entire time the supermarket was open. When I walked past there today, there was 3 containers. So in the terms of getting that extra 2 containers, how many rats has populated the area? And it's very frustrating because if you could Google how much the taxes cost in that area. And I'll come here every time there's a meeting to make my call. All right, anybody have any questions?
So you're saying that the garbage is...
They put the garbage out incorrectly, and because they put the garbage out incorrectly, it becomes a feeding frenzy for the rats.
So Dante, can you bring that to your service cabinet meeting, the next meeting?
Where's the business service cabinet? Can you just, you guys have my email? Can you give me your email? This is the way they used to put the garbage out. You tell me if you want to come here.
No, he's gonna, yeah.
Right. No. If I could ask, just make sure you just check in with the district manager. So if you have pictures, if you can send those as well.
Yeah, she has my email. I constantly call her
Okay.
every day and tell her what's going on. Even my next door neighbor, who puts his garbage out, like puts his garbage out. This is in between my house and his house. All right? I'm just gonna see this right here. You know that's a Burlington house. All right? If my house is, if this is my house over here, I'm her report to get exterminated to come and do that. If it's my responsibility, I don't mind paying. But if somebody else's responsibility, I'm pissed.
So listen, so Dante and Mia will get in touch with you about that.
She's been working with me, they went from one container, which they have for years, into 3 containers when I walk past your door. So some people have been done, but you got, they don't have the lid closed because they have so much garbage there.
Yeah.
So the rats, you know how smart they are. Yeah. Okay, guys, thanks a lot.
No, but thank you for coming.
I call 311, I call everybody, I got complaints. Okay? I don't know if it's because they close the market, they close my complaints, and I'm constantly complaining. People do 311 a lot and show them the pictures.
Okay. We need to move on in the agenda, but the district office will take care of it. Okay, next we have on the speakers list, Al Kirkland. Is there an Al Kirkland signed up for comment? Okay, we'll move forward. Cheryl Bernard.
Good night. Good night, everyone. How you doing? My name is Cheryl. I am from East Flatbush. I live in East Flatbush, as you see. We're from Say No to Less. This is something that we've been fighting for in our area, which I could explain later. But basically, I want to say, hearing that you're addressing the New York City retirees, I worked for the police department for 29 years. I had to retire because I did not get the jab, okay? Now, I'm hearing that they might take away my medical. I'm a New York City retiree. They're attacking my medical. I live in my house 51 years. They're trying to change the area. This city is just, failing me left and right. But we're gonna address that. But I wanna say thank you to Mia and Dante for my many, many questions and emails. I know I harassed you guys, but I'm trying to get our point across. Thank you for doing the resolution, but we did the bed analysis, that's not enough. Unfortunately, the fair bed analysis that was done, it does not include the private industries. So it's not including the beds that we already have in Kingsborough. So basically what I'm fighting for, and I know my time, I don't know what time it is, but they want to build up 13 apartment buildings within a 5-block radius of our homes. 13. Not 1, not 2, not 3. They want to build 13 in 5-block radius of our home. I don't know if you guys listen to the news. They want to overcrowd, they want to overpopulate. We have no parking. It's just so much that we want to address. It's not like we're against homeless, we're not. We just look at, if you look at the Fair Share Act that was sent recently, they speak about, there's 4 areas within the city that do not have any shelter beds. There's not a fair amount around the neighborhood, around the city. And if you look at the Fair Share Act that was sent, BK9, we are the worst with the police response. We're under Bronx. We're the top in Brooklyn for police response. That's not good. We need to take a stand and realize before we have increased more people in our neighborhood, because don't think it's only gonna affect me, because I live across the street or down the block. It's gonna affect everybody in the neighborhood, because they don't stay in one area. I'm not saying they to single out anyone, but we have mental health issues. One day, as I was talking to my neighbors about what's going on, a man walked by us smoking his drugs. Okay, thank you. I don't know how they get money to smoke drugs. But he went to the corner, he got on all 4s, and he drank the water that was running. I have a neighbor, 2 neighbors that witnessed it. They're not here, but I can tell you, I can bring them with me. He drank the water from the sewer. And you know when you're shocked? I forgot to take a picture. Thank you for listening. A website is on the back if you want it. It's called saynotoless.org. If you want to speak to us, just get in contact with us.
Thank you, Ms. I'm sorry, we didn't get you on the list, but if you can just give your name and we'll, you can have.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is going to be really short. I'm just here, this is my second time at this community board meeting, and I just wanted to let you know that my name is Janice Robinson, and I will be running for a civil court judge in Brooklyn in 2024. So I wanted you to see my face and know my name. You will see me again, but I just wanted to put myself into your stream of consciousness to let you know that I will be on the ballot next year, and I'm hoping that all of you will support me. Thank you.
Yes.
Janice Robinson.
Tell us why you're running.
I'm running because I want to see more diversity and equity on the bench. I've been a civil litigator for over 20 years, and I've appeared before many of the judges that have been or currently are on the bench, and I want to see more people on the bench that look like me, representing the people that look like you.
What is the court position? What is your?
Civil court judge. Yes.
And your name one more time?
Janice Robinson.
Janice Robinson.
Okay? Any other questions? Thank you very much for giving me time.
Okay, and with that, that concludes our public commentary period. I want to thank everyone who's spoken this evening, and definitely for all the issues that have been brought up and addressed. Absolutely, I encourage, and this is my PSA for this. If you have issues with services or things going on in the neighborhood, please make sure to dial 311. You want to make sure that that complaint is registered with the city, so that way it exists. And after you do that, please make sure to contact our district office, so contact Dante, Mia, or Colin. Because what that does is enables us as a board to kind of follow up on these requests to see what's being done or what's not being done. You know, the one thing I say is that we don't know what we don't know. So, and I understand the frustration when we have residents who say they've called 311 or they've made these contacts, but no action is being done. It's hard, if not impossible, for the board to do anything if we don't know that the complaints exist. And we don't get an automatic feed from the city in terms of if you've made a complaint. So that's the reason why I say, please make sure, get, call 311, get those reference numbers, and to give those to the district office, so that way we can follow up with those.
But I have a question for you. Now they're closing complaints really quickly.
Yep.
All kinds of complaints, not just the ones about, I noticed, they're closing quickly.
Yep.
So when we have someone who passes a complaint on to you that's closed, what does the team do?
We can find out.
Do you assume it's been resolved, or do you follow through as to where?
Well, no, I mean, if you're coming to us with a number, as far as we're concerned, and I'm sure the person who's giving us the number, it's not closed. So if we do the investigation, we have the conversation and said it was closed out, no, we need to understand what the resolution was. And I think that's a known issue. And again, I think this is part of the way the system works. Nobody wants to have a bunch of open complaints on the system. So they shut a lot of these things out, saying it's being handled, but it hasn't been handled. But by you letting us know, we're able to follow up in terms of finding out what is going on, what is the real resolution that's going to happen, what is the time frame, and we can be responsive to the residents of the community on that.
May I add to that?
Please.
Yes. So when a complaint comes in first, I talk to the team to see if they've heard this complaint before. Maybe there's just a way that we can kind of solve it internally. Typically, if we get a 311 and it's closed, typically what I'll do is I would just forward whatever 311 because I don't know if it's closed yet. The agency, if they say it's closed, then they're typically required to open another one just so there's a track of it, and then we just follow it from there. So that's how they, that's how we do it.
Okay. You don't need 311 calls and 311 complaints I made about that situation. And every time I go, oh, it's been closed.
But that's the issue. And that's what we're trying to change with that. So now that we know, we can track those. So if you have, unfortunately, if you still have to make 311 calls, we can jump in once we get the number to find out what's going on. And again, what it does is it creates a track record for us that we can follow up and say, this is not the first, second, or 10th time. And then we can also enlist elected officials, and we can hopefully see if we can get changes done in terms of that.
Okay, because the city don't hesitate to give you a living ticket.
You're absolutely right
They
about
don't
that.
hesitate to give you one.
You're absolutely
Right,
right.
so you can just finish sweeping. When somebody come from the supermarket, drop whatever it is, mow on your property, next thing you know, you got a ticket. Can't fight the ticket, but they tell you gotta sweep 24/7.
Understood. But this is what we're asking for the community to do. is we work as a community on this
But you
to
know
address.
what? I noticed that people complain, but they never give up their behinds and do anything. You can't fight the world by yourself. We didn't start by the back of the bus because one person complained. Okay? And I told
Welcome to
them
CB9,
that.
and this is what we're trying to do.
I said, I don't live, I'm not accustomed to living like this, and I won't live like this. So I told them to come down to the meetings. Yeah, I got time. Well, do you have time for the rats to make those little birds underneath your building? They can't get to you. Well, like I told them, I said, you gotta complain. Well, you're not gonna do nothing until you complain. So how do you know they're not gonna do it?
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are going to move on. So we're going to go on to acknowledgements. Elected officials or representatives. Do we have any elected officials with us this evening? Okay. Do we have representatives? Mrs. Slavin, I see you.
Good evening. My name is Ellie Slavin. I'm Community Liaison for Congressman Yvette Clark. Our address is 222 Lennox Road between Rogers and Ostrin. We handle federal issues, visas, passports, VA, Veterans Affairs, and we also assist politicians in the city with accommodation letters and support letters. Our number is 718-287-1142. I'm not going to hold you long. We have a lot of information on our website, which is clark.house.gov. Please, you can go onto the website, see what's going on, and comment on that website, and you will get return responses. So again, thank you for having me. I've taken notes of the issues. If there's anything, of course, you know, you have my number. Anything our office can do to assist, we will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Slavin. Yes, please come forward.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nick Marco Trigiano. I'm Communications Director for Assemblymember Brian Cunningham. Our office is located just down Empire Boulevard, 249, at the corner of Rogers Avenue. We are a state-level elected official office, so we handle things like DMV, SNAP benefits, unemployment. Our phone number is 718-771-3105. I also encourage you to sign up for our email newsletter. We send those out. We try to send those out on Fridays. That's my job to do that as the communications director. So I like when people read the emails. So if you text D43, so the letter D is in district, and then 43, like District 43, to 66866. We have all kinds of information in there about some legislation we're working on, about community events that we're hosting, community events that other folks have shared with us, including the community board, and some other opportunities, things like job assistance. I encourage you to reach out if there are any ideas you have for state legislation. And please come by our office. We are open Mondays to Thursdays. We try to save Fridays for some administrative stuff, but our office is always open. So come by, please say hello, ask for help. You can use our copier. And thank you very much. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you very much. Okay. Are there any other representatives for 8? Up? Here we go.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jackie Stevenson. I'm from the Office of Borough President Reynoso. I'm happy to see everybody today. This is going to be really short. We just wanted to keep on flagging that the community board application is now open and it's on our website until February the 19th. So board members who have an expiry of 2024, you do need to reapply. Don't forget. And call us after February 19th and said, oh, I forgot. Okay, so look out for that.
Just a quick question. Aren't you supposed to send a message out to the people that have expiration dates?
Oh, I'm going to send a message, many messages. This is one of the messages.
Okay.
But I will be sending, we were kind of thinking, well, it's Thanksgiving, then you might miss it. But since you asked, I'm going to send it on Thursday or Friday. Okay? All right, so thank you. So on behalf of the BP, happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and see you next month.
Thank you very much. Are there any other representatives? Seeing none, I do want to thank the representatives who came this evening. It's the partnership we've had with the respective offices, that's what helps us get things done. And please give the officials our best regards, UCP9, and best wishes for a happy holidays. Thank you. Okay, and with that, we've concluded our public session. We are now going to go into the business session. At this time, I would ask if our executive secretary could please call the roll.
Maria Acosta. Kyrie Annie. Nicholas Almanar. Fred Baptiste. Janelle Brazil Charles. Rabbi Yaakov Berger. Alita Bass. Augustine Blackwell. S. Chase. Suki Cha. Max Cohen. Eve Cohen. Sol Cleary. Jamie Epstein. Candace Edwards. Bishop Hamilton Gonzalez. Rod Herbert. Yosef Herkoff. Yosef. Renisha Lebre. Primo Lozana. Ina. Israel Lahir. Francisco Leopold. Courtney Lozal. Letwin Mavina. Arian Bazerski. John Renee Bean. Latoya McGee. Latte Bushing. Patricia Moses. Beverly Newsom. At Ethan Narvin. Paul Pascal. Yankee Pearson. Vanessa Rappaport. Yunala Ron Perry. Dexter Roberts. Felice Robertson. Minnie Rosenberger. Dion Saab. Omari Scott. Debbie Timothy. Present. Twyla Ware. Linda Watson Lord, that's me. Teresa Lesterga. John Wolfley. Lorianne Woolsey. Samel Zachman. Jerry, we've got 23 present. Listen carefully. I am just going to call the absentees, just in case I miss you. Maria Acosta, Nicholas Almanar, Janelle Brazil Charles, Rabbi Merman, Alita Bass, Augustine Blackwell, Sol Creary, Candice Edwards, Bishop Hamilton Gonzalez, Rod Herbert, Yosef Herkop, is Rada here? Courtney Lozelle, Jean Renee, Latoya McGee,
All right, so Madam Secretary, what is our count? Okay, 24 members present, we have a quorum. Thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to go to item 2 in the business session, the approval of the September 23 and October 23 general board meeting minutes. Have members received, members should have received a copy of those minutes as part of the package. We're going to take them one at a time. Are there any corrections at this time that need to be made to the September 2023 minutes? I'll call for a second time. Are there any corrections required for the September 2023 minutes? Okay, hearing no corrections. Is there any objection to approval of the 2023 minutes by common consent? Hearing no objections, those minutes are approved. We are now going to go on to the October 2023 minutes, which have been sent out to the board as well. Are there any corrections to be made to the October 2023 minutes? I call again. Are there any corrections to be made to the October 2023 minutes? Hearing no corrections to the minutes. Are there any objections to adopting those minutes by common consent? Hearing no objection, the October 2023 minutes are adopted by the board. All right, unless there's any objections, we're going to modify the agenda that we have currently. We're going to go straight to the voting items, as we might have some time constrictions that might, some time constraints. So at this time, we are going to go to the voting items. First item is going to be A, the landmarks application. So the landmarks application was presenting to the Housing Committee. The Housing Committee considered it? Okay. Actually, not. It was presented to the Housing Committee. It was approved by the Housing Committee and forwarded by the Executive Committee. As this was brought forward by committee, there is no need for a motion. There is a motion. We'll have the motion on the floor for the adoption of the recommendation of the landmarks application. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I missed the introduction part. When they talk about it? Can somebody summarize it for me? Don't have to be extensive.
Yeah, it's a landmarks application where they are actually looking to do some changes, I believe, on the backside of the village, right? Right. Yeah, they're adding some.
So it's a family-owned brownstone. Okay, getting an update from Mia.
Okay, so with that, no. Okay, is there any other unreadiness about the landmarks application? Okay, hearing none. Is there any objection to approving the application by common consent? Call for a second time. Any objection to common consent? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please record. Approved by common consent of the board. Okay, next we have the street co-naming application. So this is for a street co-naming for Empire Boulevard in Washington to be renamed Tiara Pollo Way. We've heard from the applicant. It was heard in the Transportation Committee and approved there and forwarded by the Executive Committee. Are there any questions with respect to this application? Yes, Invoices.
Wasn't it a code name? Wasn't it a code name? It wasn't renamed, wasn't it a code name?
No, it's a code name. I'm sorry. I misspoke. My board keeping me honest. There we go. I was just making sure to listen. So it's for a co-naming of the intersection of Washington and Empire to Tiara Pollo Way. Are there any other questions? Any other unreadiness? Okay, hearing none. Is there any objection? Yes.
In terms of, is it just at that location, or does it go beyond?
Just that location. Yes. Okay. All right. Hearing no other question, is there any objection to adoption by common consent? Hearing no objection, Madam Secretary, please record that the board approved the application by common consent. All right. Item C, New York City retiree resolution. So we read the resolution earlier, and it should be as part of the members' packets. Are there any questions before we vote? Are there any questions regarding the resolution? Call for a second time. Are there any questions with regards to the resolution? Okay, hearing no questions. Is there any objection to adopting this by common consent? Okay. I call for a second time. Is there any objection for adoption by common consent? Okay, hearing no objection, Madam Secretary, please note that that's adopted by common consent of the board. All right, we have two last voting items. This is for approval by the board for two fire safety events, two events with CV9 in conjunction with the FDNY. The first one is for a fire safety event, which is going to be scheduled for December the 5th. And the second one is going to be a CPR event also with FDNY, and that is going to be on December the 17th. So those were both discussed and approved in the Public Safety Committee. Those are being moved forward, they've been moved forward to the board for us to approve these events if we think that these are good events for us to have as a board. So, is there any objection to considering these, both of these items together?
What's the second event?
It's a CPR event
When is that?
on December 17th.
Is that a Monday night?
Okay, all right. Is there any objection? Okay, so we're going to consider the two items together. Are there any other questions regarding those events? Yes, Ms. Moses.
So Janelle's trying to confirm the location. So hopefully we can get one at Harry Silver. And then the other location, she is trying to figure that one out. But I believe Harry Silver is one of the locations.
I thought it was Tivoli Towers. Was one of the locations that
we.
we're.
The one that I know about is with her.
Tivoli Towers is the other location, and it might be subject to change depending if there's any issues with that. But if there's any issues, that will be communicated out to the board and to the community as well. All right. Are there any other questions with regards to the events? Okay, hearing none. Is there any objection to adoption by common consent? Call for a second time. Any objection to common consent? Adoption by common consent? Okay, hearing none, Madam Secretary, please note that those are adopted by common consent. Okay, those complete those voting items. All right, I thank the board for that. So at this point, we have reports for the committees. Are there any reports, any significant announcements that need to be made? All the committees' reports should be in the packets. For informational purposes. We voted on all the action items. Is there any information that we need to pass on to the board at this time? Okay, hearing none. We are going to move on to the report of the treasurer.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who have the packet in front of you, and those of you who don't, the current modified budget total, we have $390,974. That's what our budget is. Encumbered, which is what we've set aside so far for the different expenditures, we have $72,913.19. And the actual expenditures, that's what we've spent so far in this fiscal year, is $121,272.82. And the uncommitted, which we haven't used yet, is $196,827.99. The fiscal year runs from July 1st through June 30th of next year, 2024. So this is the 2024 fiscal year. Thank you. Any? Yes.
Just wondering how much the board has spent on other things, you know, like Big Fair, dinner, how much is like not keeping administrators and staff and what they might need for office?
This is everything that we have right now. So the leftovers is what's in the uncommitted column, what we haven't used yet.
So the uncommitted, let me try to explain this to all of you. The uncommitted will change because the staff gets paid. We haven't been paid yet, so we do not have $160,000 to spend. We'll make it very clear, we ain't got that. All right, we're gonna continue to get paid, so that number will decrease. If you subtract all of our salaries, which I'm not gonna talk about in public, but more than happy to talk with you on the side because it's public information, it comes to around maybe 20-ish, but that's loosely in my head. I can look at it and give you a number, but that's loose.
The only other thing I'll probably add to that as well is it's probably a little bit early to start calling how much money we have left in the budget, particularly as we're hearing what the city's talking about in terms of what budgets are looking at. So it is I don't throw it out of the realm of possibility where there could be a cut. And sometimes those cuts are done as to current budget or to future budgets, successive budgets. All to say that there is just a lot we don't know. So there's probably some things we're planning, we're trying to be hopeful and we're trying to plan for them. But at the same time, we can't say with certainty we know that there's money in certain pots for certain things. But as we're going along, definitely the treasurer and the district manager will advise on that if the status has changed.
Yeah, and Teresa, anyone else who would be reading this budget, so I think Dante made a great point, which is uncommitted is a bit of a misnomer here. A lot of that money just hasn't been spent yet. How I read this budget and how I would is your non-personnel expenses are what's going to be listed in the yellow. And so you can kind of go through that line by line and see where there might be more flexibility around spending things. But to Fred's point, we're early in the year and there's a lot of pressure being put on all city agencies to reduce spending at this moment. So to err on the side of conservancy, it's not an exact question that we can answer yet, but you can find it, non-personnel expenses all listed in the yellow as budgeted for the entire year.
Yeah, it would just be good to know if people could have events, if there's money for events.
I'm going to propose that she's starting that process.
Right. So,
with respect, I don't want to count numbers because I have a lot of work to do. But like if there's a proposal, then I count the numbers and say, hey, this is what we can do.
Now, how that works, if you look at the report, everything has an object code. So they can't just jump all over the place. If you look at the titles and the object code, that's how the money is dispersed. So anything out of the object code, they have to list it as such. And that's how that works.
yeah, hand raised.
For the youth committee, is the budget set aside for them, or they have to do a proposal?
Proposal.
Are there any other questions? Any last questions? Yes.
Which city agency funds are coming for?
O&D.
And this is a clarification, we are a city agency, so it's like the same way DOT gets budget, the same way the hall gets a budget, the same way sanitation gets a budget, community boards get a budget. All of it individually. All right, and with that, so again, the report is for informational purposes, but thank you to the secretary and the district manager for compiling that and for sharing with the board and the community. Okay, next we're going to go to the district manager's report.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so just some notes from the district service cabinet that I had this morning. Crime overall in the district is down 5.7%. They did see decreases in all of their major categories other than petty larceny, which is up in the district, likely due to holiday shopping. So if you have stuff in your car, please make sure you take stuff into your home. Don't leave things visible in your vehicle during the holiday season or moving forward in general. Also on Fenimore, Notrin, there was a recent dispute between two individuals. The victim, to my understanding, was shot in the leg and is expected to survive. Any more updates to that, I'll be sure to let the board know. On the 7th of November, around 10 a.m., there was a structural fire at 21 Miami Court, which is a private dwelling. That fire did not have any civilian casualties. Another fire also happened in the district on the 13th at 437 Rogers Avenue. That also didn't have any civilian casualties. We're going into the winter months. A lot of people are using heaters, other items to warm their homes. Education is extremely important on this matter. A lot of fires have been happening, so I will speak to that just a little bit later in the report. Also during the district service cabinet, we had a brief conversation. Unfortunately, Super wasn't there, but it is definitely something that we're looking at, is doing like a sanitation, educational walkthrough on Flatbush. I have been receiving a lot of complaints regarding Flatbush lately as it pertains to trash, specifically the Prospect Park station. There's always trash in front of that. So Raul from Assemblymember Cunningham's office was on that call earlier, so we're going to connect and see if we can make this happen. Obviously, it's getting colder, so we'll figure that out in terms of logistics. Something else that has been brought to my attention that we discussed was, and I'm sure that you all probably see it, teen smoking at Dr. Ronald McNair Park. The 71st Precinct is aware of this, and they're going to have officers patrol that area and keep that area on their radar when patrolling. We're also going to, when I say we, that's parks in itself, we're going to have to start a conversation with the principals of the school. So I think that's Claire Barton and the International High School, bring them into the fold so we can kind of figure out that situation in a holistic way. Let's see. The federal government will also be giving out free COVID tests again, so you can visit covid.gov. There is upcoming sewer and water main construction along President Street between Kingston and Albany Avenue, and sewer work on Kingston Avenue between President and Eastern Parkway. The liaison for that project is Pal Benavides, and she can be reached at 845-420-4726. Again, 845-420-4726. That project should be starting at the end of January, so if you live in that area, you need information on that project, reach out to the board office and I'll connect you with the liaison. A contractor now will be fully closing the roadway to facilitate concrete and booming operations at 408 Hawthorne Street between New York and Brooklyn Avenues. That's going to start today. So once we get those notifications about specific days that they're going to do it, we'll put it in the e-blast, so please follow that. You heard this earlier, community board applications are live for the upcoming session. If you have an expiring term in '24 or you were a midterm appointment last year, you will need to reapply for the community board. Application deadline is February 19th. You can get the application on our website in the news section. You can apply online. That link is in our news section. You can also do the paper copy. That's in the news section on the website as well. The paper copy has to be sent to Borough Hall. They will not accept any emails. That's what they told me. The Empire State Development has scheduled a virtual public hearing November 30th from 6 to 8 for the draft EIS Environmental Impact Statement for Kingsborough Psychiatric, the Vital Brooklyn Project. That notice has been in our e-blast. We have some flyers on one of these tables. Feel free to grab the flyer for information on that. Let's see, the Department of Transportation scheduled a public hearing which happened earlier today from 10 a.m. to noon for the draft versions of for the rules for the dining out program. You can visit nyc.gov/dining out for more info. I believe that the comment section online is still open until midnight tonight. The 2023 Prospect Park survey is live. That will close December 1st. Please take the survey. You can also enter to win a $100 gift card. It's also available in Haitian Creole and Spanish, and this is also in our e-blast. The Department of Health has updated their health community profiles on their online with fresh data and new features. I encourage everyone, if you haven't seen it before, definitely check out the health profiles. They've used the data from the most recent census, so it is up to date. Participatory budgeting via the New York City Council is live. You can submit your ideas by visiting the participatory budgeting website. That flyer is also in our e-blast. Let's see. Feel free to join the Department of Environmental Protection for a virtual workshop on Green Infrastructure Grant Program on Wednesday, December 6th. From 2 to 3 p.m. Attendees will learn more about funding available for green roof retrofits on private properties, eligibility requirements, and how to apply. Let's see. The Department of Sanitation announced, please share this with your neighbors, that on Thanksgiving, Thursday, November 23rd, there will be no trash, no curbside curbside composting nor recycling collection on that day. A new schedule for the Department of Buildings, their after-hours program. Borough offices will be open for the first and third Tuesdays of the month from 4 to 7 p.m. for staff to answer questions and provide information to homeowners, tenants, building managers, and small business owners. Also in our e-blast, which you all may or may not have seen this, the comptroller published a fair share report on municipal facilities for citywide. Again, that's in our e-blast. I would encourage everyone to take the opportunity to go to the e-blast, click on it, it'll take you right to the website, and then you can read the report for yourself. Recently, this just happened, there was a shooting in Prospect Park. That is on an ongoing investigation. Let's see, the information I have from Prospect Park is a fight broke out between two groups of men, whom the police say were known to each other, which led to one of them being shot in the leg. Following this incident, the victim was brought to New York Presbyterian Methodist Hospital, is in stable condition. So that's an ongoing investigation. Any more information that comes my way pertaining to that, I will, of course, share. And then just closing my report here. So we have a winter's necessities drive for clients residing in temporary housing at Rachel's House, which is right across, right around the corner from the board office. I want to encourage everyone, if you have new necessities, undergarments, t-shirts, socks, whatever that might be, you can bring that to the board office. I'm working with the leadership over at Rachel's House to pin down a day when we can do a distribution for them. But feel free to drop that stuff off by the board office. And let's see, the December calendar is going to be wonky. It is definitely going to change. There's a lot of holidays in December, so just expect that the calendar will likely move up early into December. We will get the website up to date as fast as possible, get the relevant dates for the committees in the e-blast as well. So if you're committee chair, expect to be hearing from us, because we're going to try to finalize that so we can get that out to everyone. Okay, that's my move.
Okay. Questions for the district manager's report. I see Ms. Timothy, I see Ms. Moses, I see Ms. Lucy. Any other questions? Anyone else have a question as well? And Ms. Westerholm.
So I just, quick question. Do you have an update on the shooting at the Armory?
At the Armory? That would happen all day. No, that could be.
Oh, thank you, yes. Because I know while I was working there for early voting, there was a lot of, yeah, so that would be good to find out. Thank you.
I didn't quite understand, you said the community board application was online, but don't send any email. I didn't understand that. What did you mean by that?
Sorry. Let me rephrase. The community board application is online. You can get that from us. The Borough Hall will not accept an email application. That means when you fill it out, don't send it to us. We're not going to forward it. They want it online or mail. It's a form, yes, it's a form, so you can print it out or then mail it, or you can just submit it online. But
That's what I mean, so you still send it electronically, right?
yeah, you can submit it
Only on their
electronically. So,
portal.
yeah,
Only on their portal.
yeah, they would prefer that.
Oh, I just want to know what, Department of Transportation, DOT, it's a little confusing here, it just says, because this is all my neighborhood, it says, Ludlam Place and Montgomery Street missing, like, what are they missing? It's number 5, it's a bunch of blue and whites. Missing. What are they missing?
I think they're street signs, no, street signs, right? Street signs, right? Like street signs. Like Crown Street.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right.
Actually, Ms. Newsom, you had a question as well, right?
Yeah, I have a couple of them. One, may I have the number to, thank you. May I have the number to the DOB after hours if we have questions for DOB? You mentioned that they're there for after hours, but you
I'll
need
get,
this number.
I don't have it right here, but I could get you it literally before we leave.
All right, thank you. Second one is anybody familiar with whether, MTA has stopped the public comment section yet? Because they're already moving the bus stops.
No notification has been sent to me about any of that. So,
The
no.
public comment section that MTA had regarding the relocation of bus stops and routes and all that, has that stopped yet? Because I've been on a couple buses and it's telling you how the routes, how stops have been closed and routes have been relocated. So they're already starting. So that's why I'm asking this question.
To my knowledge, Dante, that process is not closed yet, as far as my understanding. I'm not sure if those are other operational reasons why, if it's construction.
No.
or whatever else.
Permanently closed, permanently relocated is what it said.
Do you know what, if you have specific
I
statements?
was
please
on
let
the,
us know.
it was talking about Smith Street, Smith and Livingston. The route that was closed was moved to Smith and Livingston, so it had to be one of those buses over that way.
It's hard to say, because I know that they were talking about a larger bus network redesign, but I don't know if they did some smaller things where they've done stuff just to specific lines or whatever else, so. But to the point where, as far as we understand, the MTA bus network redesign conversation is still going.
Okay, so
To our knowledge.
Dante, may I suggest if you meet with, MTA during the district managers conference, do you?
Yes.
Okay, can
When
you-
they're there.
Right,
Yeah.
when they're there?
Yeah.
Can you ask them that? Because we don't wanna wake up, and this is the thing that concerns me, we don't wanna walk out one day and people are going to doctor's appointments and churches and stuff, and the bus is not there anymore. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Understood. Yeah, I'm not gonna wait until the district service. I'll send an email tomorrow.
Thank you, I'd appreciate it.
No, to your point, it is transportation, but that's the reason why we're saying the conversation has been open, so it is something that's been on their agenda, but it's been an open conversation, that they shouldn't close anything at this point. But the district manager will make the inquiries. Okay. All right, I think that was the last question for the district manager. We are going to move on to the chairman's report. Okay, I just have a few items I just wanted to report on. First of all, I want to thank the district manager in the office. You see that there's a lot of information that comes through the district office. And there's a lot of activities happening. I was very happy to hear about was it a clothing drive that the office is doing?
The necessities.
The necessities drive that's being done. So there are a lot of things that we're going to try to be impactful in the district as well as hearing things. Just very quickly, as part of my report, I wanted to note some of the items that we've been involved in the community. On October 28th, there was a Brooklyn Veterans Appreciation Day. So I think that was the first time that it was in this section of Brooklyn. I'm very happy the CB9 had signed on to that, and we were part of that. So so veterans had marched proudly. I'm a proud veteran of the Marine Corps, and I was happy to be there for the Corps, but also as a member and a resident of this district. And there's definitely a lot we want to do more with respect to that as well. There are a number of agencies that provide services for veterans. There are benefits that they get. So we want to make sure that we're able to publicize that and address veterans issues as well. There are a number of other boards who actually have active committees that do that. I'm not sure that's a conversation we can have as a board. The best way we want to have those conversations, but make sure that we're engaging and bridging the gap so that way veterans in the district are able to get the benefits that they've earned. I also wanted to briefly note on October 28th, that same day, there was a memorial for Dwayne Joseph, a good friend of this board. He was a liaison at one point when he worked at Assemblymember Diana Richardson's office, but he was a friend of the board. And he was in the streets. He was fighting the fights that needed to be fought. He passed away this summer. He is sorely missed, but there was a very, very fitting tribute that was done to him, and truly he had the respect of many. Electeds were there, Committee Board 9 was there, and the neighbors turned out. So it was phenomenal, and he continues to live on in the memory of CB9. I also wanted to address that we did participate as part of the Vital Brooklyn Town Hall that was convened by Assemblymember Cunningham. CB9 was there, also very much there and represented as well. And definitely, I want to underscore the fact that we hear the issues and we hear the pain and we hear the concerns about the way things are happening. We had that meeting. I think that there were still a number of unresolved issues, so we are still working to try and convene additional conversations to make sure that we're able to address these things. Also, what I think is important is not just the fact that we had the conversations before, but that we make sure that there are conversations that happen after as well. We don't want the state or the city to walk away afterwards and say the project is done. We need to make sure there's support services. We want to make sure that infrastructure issues are addressed. We want to make sure that they are following up on all the promises that are done as well, and that we know who to call if there are things that need to be addressed. So those are continuing conversations, and as we're able to, if we're able to convene something additionally as well, we're going to try and make sure that that is communicated out to the district and the community at large. And I guess the one thing I wanted to echo, to also really underscore about that is, it's important that we reach out to the neighbors. So I mean, we have the, I ask that all the board members serve as ambassadors. So the information we get here, please make sure we're plugging those into the networks we're in. For the residents who are here this evening, please make sure you're tapping your friends as well and letting them know that CB9 is here as a resource. There's a lot of information, as you heard the district manager just given his report that we received, that we try and pass on. But the one thing that is difficult for us is to reach out and touch everyone in the district because we just simply don't have the resources to do that. So we ask for everyone to please make sure, tap the neighbors, whatever organizations you're in, whether it be a block association, a church, a synagogue, a PTA, whatever you're involved in, just to make sure that those things are shared. And particularly with our seniors, because we know that one of the main ways we communicate is electronically, and we understand that they don't get those things. So we're saying if you have an elder aunt or an uncle or a grandmother, please, if you think they might be interested or the things that they might want to know about, to just make those extra prints if you can to make sure that they're kept engaged as well. And if there are things that we can do, if there are places you think we should be plugged in, please let the district office know so that way we can make the engagement and try and figure out how we can keep people in the loop. Wanted to address the City of Yes economic opportunity. So that committee, the subcommittee has been working very hard with that. Last month we expanded it, so it's going to be considering economic opportunity and I believe it's housing opportunity, correct? So one of the things that happened, and I know that this was definitely a concern that we had, is that these things are coming so close together that they made it very difficult for us to say that, okay, we're going to be able to do the substantive work and dig in there to get the information we needed to do. So we did write a letter, CB9 did sign on to a letter saying that we wanted an extension of the time for us to review. The response from city planning was not so much that they were going to push the deadline out, but they did say that they were going to be accepting commentary all the way up till the time they actually have, city planning has the hearing, which is scheduled for sometime late February. So we do have some time to address, but we don't really have time to address. But I would recommend everyone please make sure that you are attending, if possible, the subcommittee meetings, and so that way you can learn about it as well and give your input, as well as the land use, land use committee proper as well. And even as I say that, this is a multi-committee approach. We have our land use committee is involved in that. We have our housing committee is also, has a hand in that as well. And I believe environmental protection might even have a piece as well. But there are different places where you can actually address your concerns. Yes, and to underscore, I think just to kick the horse one more time, community board applications are open. This is the opportunity. This is not just for board members to get reappointed, but if you are a member of the community and you're looking for a way to be involved, I think this is an excellent way. I've been a member of Community Board 9 for almost 11 years now, and I really find it's rewarding. Tough? Yes, absolutely. I won't even lie about that. But it's rewarding as well because you get to meet the neighbors and we get to work together to try and develop solutions. So if there's anyone who's interested, please, I encourage you. At some point, we're going to try as a board to actually have an open house. We've done this the last couple of years. I think it's a good way to kind of introduce what community boards are about and also talk a little bit about CB9 has done. So that's something we're looking to try and do within the next couple of months. Well, I know the deadline's in February, so we're going to try and do it in a timely manner so that way people have an opportunity to kind of come and ask the questions and hear what we do. The district manager talked about it. The first half of the year is always difficult between September through December. because we have a number of holidays that come in and we're trying to be respectful of all the observances. So December, you already see what happened with November. December is going to be even more challenging. With that being said, there are going to be a lot of changes in dates. We normally have committee meetings and the board meets on regular days. A lot of those days are going to change, if not all of them, for the month of December. Please make sure you are checking with the office. Please make sure you are checking email, especially for the board members. That you are checking email to see if there's any changes that that may affect you or your committee or the board meetings. But we need for everyone to please make sure you're doing that. If you get invites from the board, please make sure you're RSVPing. So this way we know that you're coming or we know that you're not coming and we can make whatever arrangements we need to do as a board as well. The last thing I just wanted to address very quickly, last month the board was served. So the board was served and a number of members were served as well. So we received it. That has actually been sent to Corporation Counsel, which serves as our lawyer. And for those members who are concerned, CB9 is named in the lawsuit, but the relief that's being sought from the board is injunctive relief. So what they're asking for us is to do certain things. So there is no risk to any board member personally, and there's no adverse expected reactions that are going to happen to the board in terms of something terrible is going to happen to the board. But with some of the other items that were stated in the lawsuit, those are going to be a matter of litigation. So at this time, we're going to err on the side of caution where we're going to refrain from commentary as that process plays out. But to the extent we can, we will share that information with the board in terms of what is going on with that. And I believe that is all I have at this time. But let me close by just saying, I want to thank all the members of the board. I want to thank all those members, the choir who showed up tonight, so that we would do the business and vote. It's important. All those, I understand life happens, but it's important that you make as many of these meetings as possible because we have that responsibility to the community to make sure we are doing that work, reviewing the applications, and doing the work that the board is required to do on behalf of the district. So I thank you. Please keep it coming. And, to the best that we can, we're going to try and make sure that you have schedules in advance. But we also ask that you understand and do your best to make sure that you adhere to those schedules and be present because we need every member on deck to make sure we can get the business of the board done. That concludes my report. Thank you again to everyone. I want to wish everyone in the district a happy holiday. At this time, I will take a couple of questions with regards to my report. No, there's no question. Questions? Yes. Let me check. It should be. No, I know. This is where it gets. Let me just check. Because on one hand, it's like, yeah, let me check with Corporation Counsel to see what kind of distribution we have with that. Let me get back to you. All right. Yeah, I'm sure the people who served us will probably give you a copy as well. I'm sure. But in any case, I'm sorry. But any other questions with regards to my report? Okay. Hearing none. All right. All right. There was one piece of other business that we had that was tabled from last month. Unfortunately, we do not have quorum at this time, so we're not able to entertain any other voting items for this evening. So, with that being said, we're going to close this evening. I thank everyone for your coming. I thank you for your diligence. I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a happy holiday season. We will convene again in December. Thank you. Madam Secretary, the time is now 8:30. Madam Secretary, it's 8:30.